optimist in the humanoid robots and how NVIDIA makes high-end chips. We can't argue that. Does Intel make high-end chips? Maybe in 2007. But as of right now, they need to build up to scale. The reason I closed that door right there is because my bed's not made. I'd love to wake up in the morning and have Optimus make my bed while I'm brushing my teeth and grab my clothes and throw it in the wash. I think this is the last time I'll be able to make a video like this. In fact, I think you can say that for anything, but I especially want to make it for when it comes to technology and to timestamp. That's the word I was looking for. Intel on the Terafab Project. How Intel is helping Elon Musk build the future of AI chips. Now we're here today to talk about what Elon is called
the most epic chip building exercise in history by far.
The most epic chip building exercise in history. Now that's a bold claim, but when you look at the numbers, it starts to make sense. On April 22nd, 1992, there was a riot on the streets. Tell me, where were you? On March 21st, 2026, Musk unveiled the Terafab Project, a $25 billion semiconductor facility in Austin, backed by Tesla, SpaceX, and xAI. 2 weeks later, April 7th, Intel officially signed on as the primary foundry partner. Not AMD, not NVIDIA, not anybody in Taiwan or South Korea, even China. Domestic. Now today I want to walk you through what this partnership actually means, what Intel brings to the table, how xAI is using this to build AI hardware, how Tesla is applying chip design expertise to power its next generation of vehicles and robots. What is Terafab? Now, depending on my audience at this point, there are 2 or 3 different point of views, few different points of interest. Number 1, we have the investor, a second chance of getting in on NVIDIA or the closest thing to it while it's still young. Maybe we have the armchair historian, somebody interested in defense. The theme of this story is domestic. Or somebody interested in the direction AI is going. So listen up because we're having a few predictions. Let's start with the big picture, rather the physical catalyst to the reason this video is being made. Terafab is a vertically integrated chip manufacturing project, meaning it's designed to handle everything under one roof. Chip design, fabrication, memory, advanced packaging, and testing. No shipping wafers to Taiwan and no waiting in TSMC's queue. The goal is to produce 1 terawatt of AI computing power every year. Not sure what that means, but to put it into perspective, based off these notes, analysts estimate the figure is roughly 50 times the current global AI chip output. Musk framed it starkly. He put it point blank. Either we build the Terafab or we don't have the chips, and we need the chips, so we build the Terafab. This urgency is real. He said that all the current fabrication facilities on Earth produce roughly 2% of what Tesla and SpaceX will eventually need. The chip supply problem is not hypothetical. It's a constraint arriving in the next 3 to 4 years. xAI, custom silicon for Grok. Now let's look at how xAI is putting this expertise to work. After SpaceX acquired xAI in an all-out stock deal February 2026, the combined entity became arguably the most vertically integrated AI infrastructure company in the world. xAI currently operates the Colossus supercomputer cluster in Memphis, expanded to 200,000 NVIDIA H100 GPUs in late 2025. But buying from NVIDIA has a ceiling. You're dependent on their chip production schedule, their pricing, and their priorities. Terafab changes that equation, making it in America. The early output of Terafab is centered on Tesla's AI5 chip, which directly tied to xAI Grok models. Rather than running Grok on an off-the-shelf hardware, xAI is moving towards purpose-built silicon co-designed with Intel. Now you're probably asking yourself, why am I dressed like this? Well, because all the cool financial social media influencers wear a blazer top and a t-shirt, and this happens to be my cream Florida outfit. Here in the back, my wife and I, we've watched a few launches from SpaceX. We even tried to watch the Artemis 2, but it was hidden behind the clouds, and hey, we missed history. But the point I'm trying to make is that rocket that we saw launched, how many components on that aircraft, spaceship, weren't designed for space? Was that chip, was the motherboard designed? Were the wires, were they designed for space? And that's what Intel is doing. Chip manufacturing for space. Musk said that 80% of Terafab's compute output will be directed towards space-based AI satellites, optimized specifically for their AI workloads. And there's an orbital angle, what SpaceX internally called AI Sat Mini. These are chips that have to operate in a vacuum, running on solar power with natural cooling from the cosmos. Intel's advanced packaging expertise is critical for hardware with those constraints. Bottom line, XAI, Intel's co-design capacity means they're not just a customer buying chips, they're a co-developer of the silicon that will train and run the next generation of Grok. Tesla, from FSD to Optimus. You know Optimus, the robot that'll take your job as opposed to the Chinese robot that will kung fu his way to your job deletion. Now, at this point, I could read off the notes talking about the AI 5 chip, next year's AI 6, how it competes with NVIDIA's H100, which is a $30,000 server chip that runs on 700 watts, and how they're comparing it to the AI 5, which fits behind your glove box and runs off your car battery. Granted, it's a Tesla battery. But the important part about this is Optimus and the humanoid robots and how NVIDIA makes high-end chips. We can't argue that. Does Intel make high-end chips? Maybe in 2007. But as of right now, they need to build up to scale. The reason I closed that door right there is because my bed's not made. I'd love to wake up in the morning and have Optimus make my bed while I'm brushing my teeth and grab my clothes and throw it in the wash, just like the vacuum cleaner I showed you. Those days are coming. And because those days are coming, we need to start building the infrastructure and the components to make that a reality. One analyst at Morgan Stanley estimates that Giga Texas alone could require 20 million chips per year just to produce 10 million humanoid robots. Now, what does that mean? If you invest in this, you might get a little more rich. Roughly 6 times Tesla's current chip demand across its entire automotive business. The chip roadmap runs AI 5 samples in late 2026, mass production in 2027, and then AI 6, we're moving to 6, which Musk says could match 2 AI 5 chips in a single package. And the longer term Terafab is manufacturing the backbone of it all. The bigger picture. So what does this all add up to? At one level, this is a business story. Intel lands the marquee foundry customer it needed, and Musk's companies get manufacturing expertise that no amount of capital can buy from first principles. But on another level, this is a geopolitical story. TSMC dominates global chip manufacturing from Taiwan. Samsung is in South Korea, and every major AI company, NVIDIA, Apple, Google, is dependent on fabs located in a geopolitical flashpoint. Terafab is a direct bet on domestic American chip sovereignty. The Trump administration recognizes this explicitly, acquiring roughly 8% of Intel shares in March of 2026 as part of the effort to secure domestic semiconductor manufacturing. Washington is now a financial stakeholder in whether this succeeds. The ambitions are extraordinary. Analysts have noted that Terafab's stated $25 billion budget is roughly what it costs to build a single 2nm fab running at a fraction of the claimed scale. Hitting 1 terawatt annually could require dozens of such facilities and trillions of capital, the name of this channel. The timelines are aggressive, the technical challenges are real, but the strategic logic is airtight. The chip supply constraint is coming. The companies at the table, Intel, Tesla, SpaceX, and XAI, each bring something the others can't replicate. And the co-location of chip design, chip manufacturing, and AI development in one campus in Austin is genuinely unprecedented. In closing, I want to leave you with some framing that I think captures this best. Remember earlier when I was talking about during the Terafab announcement when Elon said that all current fabrication facilities on Earth produce roughly 2% of what Tesla and SpaceX will need? That's a problem. And Terafab with Intel as a foundry partner is the proposed solution. Whether or not the timeline holds, and history suggests some will slip, the strategic direction is clear. The era of outsourcing silicon is ending. The companies that control their own chip supply will control their own AI futures. Intel is betting that the future runs through Austin, Texas, and Elon Musk is betting that his companies will decide on that. I appreciate you watching the video to this far. I'm still a new YouTube channel talking about currency, so therefore I can't make custom thumbnails. Yeah, we're still at infant status. The reason I made this channel is because every time I make a YouTube channel, whether that be about racing, firearms, stuff of my interests, I gain more knowledge just giving the presentation. Like if I'm working on rebuilding an engine and I say, oh, you have to put this bolt in. Just the process of giving the presentation helps me learn. The process of giving this presentation for financial literacy, currency, helps me understand what currency is, because I don't have to do this. I could just take my $10 and go to 7-Eleven and not really understand why. Why is it that you take my money and you give me back change and the Snickers bar is worth this much, and then 5 years from now it's worth that? It doesn't really make sense. Now, just like breathing air, I can say to myself, it just is the way it is. And man, and actually for my own piece of meditation, my own piece of calm, maybe that is a good way to look at life. But I don't want to do that when it comes to this. I want to get on top of this. I want to understand it. I've talked to financial advisors and I've talked about this and they've laughed almost like I can't comprehend. And I took offense. Why am I not able to comprehend currency? Dollars, pounds, euros, silver, gold, and whatever's coming in the future. And everyone has their own idea of, basic income or giving away free food. And their reasons are sound, especially because moving into the future, if you can't work, if you can't find a way to provide for yourself. So moving into the future, these are the videos I'm going to make, because if I can get I'm waiting for that aha moment when I give a presentation on, oh, this is happening, and then all of a sudden it clicks. Because that's happened about 3 times just in this video alone. I go, oh, that makes sense. Building chips at scale. Oh, that makes sense. And that's why I made this YouTube channel, because the more I make these presentations, the more all of a sudden at one point it's gonna click, and I'm gonna go, oh my God. And I would love to understand what's. So I have another YouTube channel called Farm the Future. My main YouTube channel is Yosemite Steve, where I post all the fun. I've always posted all the fun stuff that I've been interested in. But I have another channel called Farm the Future, and it's very similar to this channel, because in this channel, Currency and Capital, I'm trying to understand the creation of value, currency. And in my farming channel, I'm trying to farm. And that in itself is, like I said, I have a 3D printer and I like to sell stuff that I make in the holiday season. Farming is a nature version of 3D printing, and it blows my mind, because you can take something, put it in the ground, and then you're your own boss. It comes out, and now it's up to me I've always been able to sell stuff for people. I could sell a TV, I could sell candles, I could sell cars, but have I ever been able to sell something I created? And I think that is very fundamental in this channel. Being an entrepreneur, understanding how value is created. And I hope I've talked long enough so I can make it so that this thumbnail is the main picture of this video. So thank you, subscribe, and I'll talk to you next time.